Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Allie with A. Marie Speaks, and this video is kind of just a personal update that I wanted to make a quick video about the end of 2022 here. So today is November 27, and I am going to be taking a bit of a break over the holidays and into the beginning of 2023. I wanted to have this video up in case during the future, if people are new here and maybe have found other ones of my videos where I have instructed or suggested that people go to amariespeaks.com to find references and all types of different things I have on here. So the site is going to be down. I have a renewal with WordPress for the 11th of December. But it's just such an inconvenient time with the holidays, and with myself and my husband, it's not within our budget right now to be paying WordPress the amount of money that they want for the year right before Christmas. In case you are new here, I am a mother of two. I have a 16 and an 8-year-old, and we live sort of like a fringe kind of off the grid as much as possible lifestyle, and we don't really subscribe to like credit cards or living above our means, right? If it's something that's not within our means, we don't apply for it. We live without it. We get exactly what we need, and everything that we need comes to us. And so if things don't align or work out, it's of my opinion that's just not meant to be right now, right? And so I wanted to make this video just as a little click for people in case they do go to my site and see that it's down and are wondering what's up. So it will be up through December 11th, which is like 2 weeks from now. And I wanted to put this video out early and just share my screen and go over a couple of things on my site for people in case you've never taken the chance to look over there, or maybe you have. This is kind of like a notice that if there's things on there that you like, or you're hoping to get to, or you want to save references or resources of in some category, feel free to, but do it before the 11th, because after the 11th, the site probably won't be up. And that will be probably through the new year, maybe into spring 2023, maybe around March. Haven't decided yet. It could be sooner too. I could decide to go with another hosting service. I haven't decided. As I said, my 16-year-old is really into computers and coding and all of that. So he's going to help me to preserve my site as best as possible. And then, we'll do some changing, or maybe I will just go back to WordPress. I'm not positive. I'll put a video up in 2023, probably like welcome to the new year, and talk about myself and my updates and stuff at that point when I know more. But for now, in case, I just want to share my screen and go over a couple of things for my site that I feel like are really important for people, for my viewers, or anybody who's interested in the same kind of things that I'm interested in, right? Make this channel or site as hoping to be some kind of authority figure or anything like that. It's just that I love to learn and I love to house information. And so I have had this vision for the site for a long time. And it came to fruition last year, and I finally, decided to go for it and build a site. So this is the site, amariespeaks.com, and it is focused around introspection, spirituality, and happiness, as everybody knows. I really brought this site, as I say in my welcome page here, right? Like I had this vision, an idea of a place where we could offer, resources and all types of things that people need when they're starting to wake up and they're starting on a spiritual journey, or they're new to metaphysics, or perhaps they are new to kind of like the new age, all the topics, right? I also house my own personal writing, poetry books, and my divination on here as well. So um, it kind of was my initial idea that I would have this site as a reference resources, sort of like a library in extension to the readings that I'd offer. And then I was thinking like my readings probably would just cover the monthly dues for WordPress and for the operational kind of thing. That was my foresight and my planning. But as so many of us know, in this sort of weird transitional space that we're in, um, like moving to 5D and people being in all of these kind of like metaphysical, spiritual categories of work, um, exchanges come in all different forms, right? And our service really, my service in particular, comes from my heart, and it comes because I love to do these kind of things. And so I don't ever do them with the hopes of getting a monetary gain or putting a price tag on things, right? Um, it works really well for me because it keeps me motivated and enjoying what I do. However, now, looking back on the last year, a lot of the decisions, that I chose to make probably um, didn't align with keeping my website alive. Because every chance that I get to do readings or interactions and offer service and working for others, um, especially during this time of transition with like inflation and the pandemics and all this kind of stuff where people are really losing jobs, not having, having to tap into savings if they have that, or, having to do different jobs or whatever, so many upsets in people's lives have been happening. And so it's always been, um, don't worry about it. Don't worry about the money. We'll just get your problem solved. Or, don't worry about the charge. I don't even need it. Write me a recommendation or send me another person to work with if that's what you like, or, if you could, write a little blurb for me that I could throw in my book, or I could throw on my site or whatever, I always offered, and I have all over my site too. Like if we can go over and I'll start showing you here. So I have my reading site here about all these different, tarot card readings, spiritual blueprint readings, intuitive readings. And I have on all of them, about the rates that I will always take, in energetic exchanges, right? It's been wonderful, and I wouldn't change my experiences for the world. But like I said, hindsight, I wasn't really thinking about, the upcoming year and what I would, when the bill would come in, right? When like they'd be asking me for more money. Um, and it came at such an inconvenient time. I didn't even realize it until I got the email last week. And I was like, oh. But I'm a strong believer everything happens for a reason, right? So although I have an Etsy and I have my site where I say that I offer readings and all this, and I never end up charging actual money for anything, which is fine by me because I don't live my life in a pursuit of money. However, like I said, when we have somebody coming at an inconvenient time around the holidays where I don't have extra cash, my husband is the sole provider of our family right now. I mostly just homeschool the children. I left my corporate real job in April, at the end of April of 2022. And so that in itself has really totally shifted our life, our finances, the way we plan and structure how we pay for things and stuff. And it's really geared us from being a great two income. And even I had a great income working for, logistics, freight and stuff. I was compromising my morality in that job, and also being asked to compromise my health. And why I'm not compromising my health and wellness for anything. I came to live my life in the best way that I can each day. I've gifted a beautiful gift of life, right? So why am I going to compromise my health and my future wellness for money or a paycheck? Or to stay loyal to some kind of job that I feel like I should have stayed loyal to because they offered me a position. I chose to say no, thank you. And my husband was super supportive, and he's just like, don't worry, we'll get by. And we do, and we have, it's been a beautiful learning lessons to me. And I talked a lot about this in my abundance journey. Personally, I have to just, let go of the reins and just say, everything comes for a purpose and a reason. And I have greatly enjoyed building this site. I work on it all the time. I'm always adding new things to it. So it is a bit of a downer to me to have to let it go for a little while, but I just know that if it's meant to be, it'll return. If it's meant to be, it'll come through in some kind of way, right? So in the meantime, I am hoping to just give a brief tour here of what kind of things I offer, and also where to find me in the interim if and when my site goes down. So this is the site. As I said, I showed you the welcome page just a little bit, and my readings page. Those I would be offering, or if you find us in the future and you are interested in hearing divination or learning about that, you can always send me an email, and I would love to do readings or offer you insight or work with the cards with you to help you gain some insight if that's what you're seeking. You can always find me directly at third as the word THIRD .I as in our eyes EYE .navigation at protonmail.com. I'll probably put a link or a wording of that in the description for people in case you don't want to write it down right this second. But yeah, I mean, I would be more than happy to be working with people or offering services in that kind of way after the holidays, and I don't want to get too much into readings, but the New Year readings, like I love to do a year reading for people. I do one for myself every year to keep and to look for the themes for each month for the coming year. So if that's something that totally intrigues you, don't hesitate to send me an email or go on my site while it's still up and go to the contacts page. I'll show you all now here. We have the contacts page. And you could just, fill in your name and email, and you can write anything in here. I'd like to talk to you about a reading or whatever. That goes directly to my email. Also, if we look at get to know me here, I have like a brief blurbs about my background and how long I've been doing tarot and intuitive mentoring and things, spiritual mentoring. Also, I am a writer and a poet, and I do investigative journalism. I used to be more into that than I am these days. But if you're intrigued in finding any of that, you can go on my site and find, links to downloadable free PDFs. Everything I've written, I offer for free. Whether it's poetry books or I have a parent's guide up right now. I'm pretty much closing up on a short story book that I've made, which I'll also be sharing for free. And I have a couple of other books in the works. Anyways, that is basically the more personal stuff that I have on my site, just about my personal journey and divination and stuff. The tools section here is what I was talking about building a library, having free resources and tools for everybody to come and get what they need or what they're seeking, or even see things that they had no idea that they could be seeking before, right? So I made this page, this tools page, and it has all these different categories: self-love, introspection, wellness, spirituality, light work, shadow work, communion, numerology, astrology, and divination. And then I have this wonderful orientation page for people who are just waking up. If you are just waking up, right, welcome. Thank you. You might be going through some of these things, right? Some of these awakening symptoms that I made this little infographic here. about you are not crazy and you are not alone. You're breaking out of mind control. That's all. Welcome to the journey. Welcome to the fight. It's day in, day in, day in. Every day is day one. So things can definitely be overwhelming. And that's why I made this little orientation page for new people, which shows here, I did like quick tips with infographics that are easy to read. I have basic base level practices that you can get started with if you're brand new to mindfulness or meditation or exercise. And I also have here like some introductory content along with general references. So if you are, brand new, or even if you're relatively new, I highly suggest starting with introspection, especially if you feel a bit wobbly on the spiritual ground and you're more of like a logical kind of person, or you've really woke up in a more negative realm due to like infringing things from the government or healthcare. If you feel like you've been sparked awake to fight for your freedom, or you've been sparked awake by trauma or by infringements or abuse of some kind, right? Tyranny. If that's kind of the alignment that's woken you up, it can be helpful to get into introspection first, to get to know yourself and allow yourself that freedom of acceptance and understanding, and work with that practice before you try to look outwards and work with others in that practice, because it seems very simple and easy from your eyes out in the outside picture when you're just like taking notes on it. But when you step into the realm and you start to actually put the work boots on and do the work, you realize that there's a lot in there to work and learn through. And so I always suggest to people introspection first. Work on yourself first. If you love the terms like of light work and shadow work, if that kind of realm inspires you, that's exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about introspection. But people who come from an academia world, or who come from a very materialistic sort of mindset, concepts like introspection, self-awareness, personal growth, or self-help kind of category might be where you're comfortable at. And if that's where you're comfortable at, that introspection tool is full of that kind of segmented options. And I made this great infographic about all the different paths of awakening. So you could definitely go and read that if you're new. Excuse me. I have a couple of podcasts and videos and articles that are geared towards like a welcome wagon kind of thing for new people, where I break down concepts that when you're not so new, we could dive into more. And so I'm just going to keep scrolling down here. And as you can see, this gets into where I have some of those base level practices about meditation, stress management, understanding about sovereignty and discernment. I have all these little helpful little blurbs and bullet points and infographics here, like you can see, these are the kind of things I share on Telegram, really quick infographics that I make with messages. Sometimes I share voice notes, or I forward other people's messages that are great, or I write little blurbs. So if this kind of stuff, you like it, feel free to find me on Telegram. It's A. Marie Speaks over there. My nose is so itchy this morning. I'm so sorry. They keep like scratching my face. Anyways, let's go back to the tools page. And I just want to quickly go through introspection for people who are new. Right. Every single tools page, I wrote like a little blurb at the top here about what I mean by introspection, what I mean by self-love, and then here, like, this is great starting point. See how I have all these links, the Meigs-Breyers test that is so helpful to get to know, your personality avenues and what kind of things that you resonate with. There's, Truly has free personality tests on there too, which are also really fun to take, that aren't just strictly Meigs-Breyers, like Myers-Briggs. Oh my gosh. Too early in the morning. Myers-Briggs, Meigs-Breyers. Hey, real life, real mistakes, right? I am human, as Adrienne says it in my Yoga with Adriene mentor, right? I'm human, okay? um, yeah, I love this. Berkeley University and not to get political or say to talk about leanings or anything, but they tend to be a little bit more liberal than what I usually gear for. However, they have amazing free quizzes and tests on their all about, like, I have put their emotional IQ, which I feel like is a really important test to take, just to understand where you're at emotionally. But they have a million different quizzes over there. You could check that out. There's astrology and numerology, really, or genealogy. Um, those divination practices really can be insightful. There's tons of free options on there. Like, astrology can be really deep, and if you go get a chart for free online, like, you're probably going to be reading, scrolling through so many things with all the planets. It can be really overwhelming, which is why I offer sort of like a mentoring or readings. I do readings and charts for people all the time, but also I do like a mentoring on how to learn these things for yourself. So if you're interested, you can contact me on the contacts page, send me an email. Genealogy is super cool too. Secret Energy, I have a source here, and this is how I discovered genealogy. Secret Energy is pretty cool. Seven Bomar runs that, and say what you will, there's a double-edged sword with everybody these days, because when you bring up these influencers or people who are famous, or for some reason they bought the limelight, we'll always have a segment of people who claim that they're controlled opposition, or claim that they are like a puppet for some kind of reason, right? Or there's something bad about them. So I'm not saying, that I totally go and align with everything that they talk about over there at Secret Energy, but there's such great resources and information. So I would have them on my site, totally suggest. But discernment, personal common sense is always needed whenever you're reviewing any kind of information. Also, human design is another really cool sort of spiritual bodies, that you can do. Also, if you are interested more in things like astrology and numerology, over on the tab, I have more types, like all about the different kinds of astrology, and references to different kinds: Western astrology, Vedic astrology, Mesoamerican, Native American. There is a couple of links over there. So if that kind of stuff particularly, get over on the astrology page and at least save like the links to the sites where you can get free charts, or where you can find more information on those, if that kind of stuff intrigues you. For introspection, just for basic beginners, people who are more aligned to academic or like a left-brained kind of descriptions of things, to get comfortable, I put all of these kinds of people who I consider to be more on the fringe, and who can be easily introduced to people who these concepts might be completely new. Carl Jung, Rudolf Steiner. I already talked about Seven Bomar. Dr. Joe Dispenza is great. The Theosophical Society is wonderful. I love that channel After School. It's on YouTube. And Spirit Science is also another one, which I don't have on there. And that is a little bit more spiritually based. But if you are like new to waking up and spirituality is clinging to you too, Spirit Science is a great channel. Carl Sagan, Tony Robbins, Wayne Dyer. Just The Reality Revolution is a great channel, but that also is sort of bringing you more into metaphysics. And then, I have a couple of really great videos that I like that are just general, that are more like geared towards people who are newly waking up. So maybe even if you're not newly waking up, but you have a family member or a friend or like a coworker or somebody who is kind of on the fringe of waking up, you could offer them any of these like videos or movies that might kind of just, they aren't heavy red pill videos. It's not like slamming you with the truth. It's the gentle rocking, right? Just getting them to maybe crack an eye and mostly crack an eye on an internal perspective, fate and free will discussions, or about woo-woo, scientific pursuits of consciousness is another one, TED Talks. And say what you will about the TED Talks, and I agree pretty much about the establishment genre of that. However, you can't negate that they do offer some great talks sometimes. But right, discernment is everything, right? And then I have some quick tips down here for people who are interested. And then I talked about archetypes. Archetypes are so cool. And sometimes they can be more seen as like for writers or people who are developing like character plots, or who are interested in literary analysis and stuff like that. But we all embody archetypes. And when you start to resonate or learn about your own and stuff, it can be just great eye-opening. And then I can have a little bit more about Carl Jung's version. I love Carl Jung when he talks about the archetypes. So I feel like you can get a lot of information from that. Okay, so other than that, for what I wanted to just show and go over, in case other people might be interested in finding some of these things, right? Shadow work and light work especially, I have some great videos. And if you're interested in learning more about shadow work, you could come down here and look at a couple of these people who I just find they talk really wonderfully about the working. And I have a couple of links here to some quick little videos. I have some blogs and some podcasts that I have wrote about shadow work specifically. So if that sparks your interest, be sure to come over here and take a look at those. What else could I show quickly? Oh, well, I'll talk about wellness real quick. I had added that in another video too. I have a list here of, doctors that I have listened to and followed for years, who I have seen push boundaries and speak truth. And some of them who have literally saved my life, like Dr. Tent and DHS. I really have such gratitude for his lectures and for his mind and his health and his practice, because he really helped me move through chronic disease. Dr. Vernon Coleman, Dr. Mercola, Pam Popper, Dr. David Martin, ADV, I love her. Dr. Cohen, right? Christiane Northrup is another wonderful one. Dr. Shiva, I absolutely love Dr. Shiva, even though he's rough around the edges and he's a bit abrasive. He speaks the truth and he is fighting for the truth. Dr. Charnel Wolverton Sihon, she is amazing too, and she's more metaphysical workings, but she's written an amazing book too, which you can find on Swiftfire. She runs a television channel and everything, and she's wonderful. And she's more of a spiritually based, metaphysically kind of based doctor. Let's see. Also, I put a couple of groups and channels here. I haven't really updated this, but these three, they continually, if you're looking for up-to-date information that's honest about health and wellness, Children's Health Defense is great. The ICAN organization with Dal Bigtree is wonderful. And I really love Real Truth About Health by the HHI. They have a wonderful YouTube channel too. Where they offer free information. They have panels of doctors, and every doctor they bring on is just wonderful. I have just some basics about how important wellness is, right? Wellness is a huge part of our lives. So if you're suffering from dis-ease, from sickness, from chronic illness, please check out some of these starter videos that I have here, right? A huge one that is kind of in the mainstream these days is talking about the lies of virology and just the sketchiness of that entire category of science, which I can speak from personal experience, because I saw a lot of holes and chinks and problems when I worked as a medical lab assistant, which I did for 10 years in a hospital environment. And between learning about testings and understanding about the body, blood work, chemistries, and things, I started to have a lot of questions things that didn't make any sense and that you weren't allowed to ask about either. And so if you are wondering about that type of health and truth, then definitely this, I put up this link here to Space Busters. They did a documentary sort of busting the lies of virology, and it's a great one. Also, I have some videos from ADV. Mark Bajeski is wonderful. He's more spiritually aligned. He's a healer, a spiritual healer, but he speaks beautiful truth about health and wellness. I have a couple of lectures here from DHS. I absolutely love them. Dr. Tent and Dr. Gill. Pesticides is also a huge thing. And you can watch a lecture on those. Breathing for Wellness I have on here. Also a couple of like documentaries that they're really well known, and maybe you've watched them already, but if you haven't, check them out. Or if you know people who are suffering from healthcare crisis right now, you could point them towards some of these videos. And then, like I said, I have a couple of infographics down at the bottom. Yeah, so basically this is it. This is the site. Feel free to go into any of these tools and find, more. I won't go through every tab here because I want to just make this a really quick video, just kind of showcasing some of the main things that are on here, options, so you get an idea of it. And if it interests you, go check it out before the 11th. And if not, then, hey, perhaps I'll be up in 2023 again. And maybe not, it just might not be the right time for this. And lots of other people, have wonderful sites where they do the same thing as this and really, have great information pretty similar to what I'm offering. So it might not be a niche need, and maybe I'll just let it go, but that will be what, I'll do my own kind of reasoning for that and bring an update later. I guess the last thing I will say here is that I do have a podcast as well. And I forgot to say that at the beginning. I think I'll keep up with the podcast throughout my little break as well. So you could find me directly on Spotify or Anchor. I don't really promote it or share it on the app stores like Apple or Google. Pretty much because I boycott them in my own life and I don't appreciate their overwhelming monopolies. So, and yeah, I get it. Like Spotify is kind of the same thing. It doesn't really matter, right? They all own each other at the end of the day. But yeah, that's been my personal reasoning as to why I don't go through and share it into all these other portals of where you could find it. But if you are interested, you can find it over on Spotify. Marie Speaks. Yeah, so I guess maybe I'll just go over metaphysics really quickly too, because this is another big section. All the sections have a really decent amount of information in them. And I do, like I said, I'm constantly kind of tweaking them and adding things that I find in there. But metaphysics is another huge thing. It's a building block of, soul evolution. And so I have some great starting points here. Some things have links, and if they do and this interests you, grab the links and save them, but some of them are just concepts and ideas for you to think about. I listed spirit science, cymatics, the scales. If you don't know about the Rockefeller bait and switch thing, go check that out with 440 Hertz. Walter Russell, and there's so many. I love Walter Russell. There's just so many wonderful things about him. If you're not familiar with him, click on the link and check them out. Dan Winters, Dean Radin, same thing. Wonderful people. Jane 108 is wonderful. They have a whole website. And I just absolutely love Jane 108. They just bring such fun to math and beauty and metaphysics. What else do we have on here? Check out the different spectrums of light, what we could see, right? What about the ether? You can talk. I have all things about that. That is so amazing to look into, the ether and Nikola Tesla. Even he's one of the more recorded people to actually be a promoter of ether, but there's others. You could check out, quantum gravity research is another lining with E8 theory. That is amazing. Free energy, 369 and vortex mathematics. That vortex mathematics will take you to an awesome home lecture made with a dry erase board with a mathematician who's wonderful and really talks through the idea and concepts of vortex mathematics so that you can understand it. Buckminster Fuller. He is one of my favorites as well. Definitely check him out, the Buckyball, it vortexes and angles and how solid structures, platonic solids and things like that, cast shadows and work together, and the development of the solids. You got to check out Buckminster Fuller. What else I have on here? The Schumann resonance, benefits of earthing. Heart Math Institute is amazing. Dr. Emoto, if you haven't seen him in his water studies, David Hawkins, Bruce Lipton, and Greg Braden, Rupert Sheldrake. Theora Apophis. He has such a great YouTube channel as well, which I linked here. Definitely check out things like Kundalini, Chi, Prana, the meridian systems, chakras, our auras, the human torus. All of those things are under the category of metaphysics, right? Remote viewing, crystals, alchemy. This is a great Montauk.net is a wonderful site too. They have just infinite resources over there. Check out Etymology and the Power of Words. Your words are your wand with Florence. Oh my goodness, what is her name? Florence. I can't think of her last name, but Your Words Are Wands. That is a beautiful book, and they have audio versions, video versions of it on YouTube for free. Also things like paranormal and supernatural kind of spiritual contacts and stuff like that. That can be so enlightening to look into. And then I have some great starter videos by some of those people or channels that I've talked about above. So metaphysics is another really great one for clean resources that maybe you might want to save and look at later. So that's it. I guess I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope you will take advantage of any of the information that I have up there, save it, screenshot it, whatever. And always, you can find me on Telegram. A. Speaks over there. Like I said, I have that podcast on Spotify, which I do separate audio like subjects and different things on my podcast than I do share in the videos. I've made a couple of video versions, 3 or 4, that I've moved into YouTube and BitChute. But other than that, like I have 30 something, I think, other podcasts already over there that are new material, that are different topics than I've discussed on YouTube and BitChute. So if you like what I talk about over there and you want to see more, I do cover like things in all of these sections here, introspection, spirituality, and happiness. Talk about them over on Spotify too. So you can find me over there. And yeah, maybe perhaps my site will be back up in the new year. I will send like an update video out to let people know. But in the meantime, yeah, you could just send me an email directly if you have questions or concerns, or you want to have a conversation. If you'd like to come on my podcast or maybe do a video, I think I'll be looking into offering things like that as well. Maybe some discussions. Oh, and one other thing I will say here too is another big thing that I'm involved in is Circle Group. And if Circle Project is something that might be interesting to you, I have this here on the side about Circle Project. And you can check out thecircleproject.org. And that is all about communion, sharing space, holding sacred space for others, and having great dialogues, how we can learn to really listen to others. So if that kind of thing sparks your interest, check out my communion tab or check out thecircleproject.org for more information. But perhaps even in the new year, I'm contemplating offering maybe Zoom as a little meeting spot for people if we would like to have real conversations and a back and forth, not like a negative debate kind of thing where people will be triggered and arguing or pushing agendas and opinions, but like a communion space where we could actually share information. Well, I'll share more on that later on, perhaps in the new year or before the end of December. But yeah, in the meantime, find me on YouTube or BitChute. A. Speaks over there, and I'll be closing up my negative agendas, tricks and traps segments over on BitChute before the end of the year. So you can find 3 to 4 more videos over there on that. And yeah, if you do watch me on YouTube, then you can see all of my spiritual divination videos over there. Comprehending Consciousness series is on that channel. So yeah, if you find me over there, there's selected videos, but you know how YouTube is. I don't want to end up shadow banned, and I already went through all of that with Instagram and left them in 2020 because I was being shadow banned back in 2019 even. So actually 2020 I think is when I really got shadow banned, but anyways, I won't get into that. But I don't use that platform anymore. But to try to negate that option on YouTube, I've sort of changed the topics that I talk about over there and moved the more triggering topics to BitChute. So if you want to find everything, you can check me out on BitChute. Yeah, so I guess that's it. I'm going to end my video here. And yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for taking an interest in my channel and in my journey. And if you have already, you know, been a part of my website, thank you so much for visiting it, checking out my blogs, my writing. And if you are some of the people who, you know, have done mentorship or readings with me, thank you so much for watching my videos. Thank you for being a part of my life. And I hope you will continue to tune in and find videos or find me on Telegram. Yeah, so I hope you have a beautiful day or evening wherever in the world you are, right? Thank you for your service to the collective, and thanks for watching mine.